yes, it will be multiple parts. I get to work, and my clock in time was 5:30, but I always get there early, 5:10, 5:15. And I get a call from a no caller ID. I pick up the phone. It's my sister. She is the mother of the nephew that I'm raising. And I'm like, why are you calling me no caller ID? She said, because I'm blocked from your phone. I'm like, bro, no, you're not. She said, well, I thought I was. And I'm like, okay, so what's up? And she was like, it's Father's Day weekend. It's a lot of stuff going on. And I want to see my baby. And our grandma had a dinner party that we were invited to. I asked my nephew if he wanted to go. He said no. He does not want to see his mother and his siblings. And I uploaded that video that y'all can go back and watch. And she was like, you're keeping him isolated. Mind you, I'm at work. I'm ducked off where nobody can see or hear me, and I'm not on the clock. And I'm like, I'm not keeping him isolated. I asked him if he wants to go. He said no. My nephew is 14, almost 6 feet tall, with the opinion of a grown man. He can let me know where he does and does not want to go, and I'm going to respect it. She said, that's your problem. He's still a 14-year-old kid, and I know that he's been wanting to see us, and woo, woo, woo. I said, no, he hasn't. I said, it was me reaching out to her daughter, which is my niece, about mending the relationship between the siblings. That was me reaching out. I said, not once did he once ask to see you, and not once did he ever ask to see his siblings. He never wanted to. That was me attempting to reach out to mend the relationship between the siblings, never you. And she was like, you don't got no rights to him. I'm going to come get my baby when I'm ready. It's a lot of family activities going on this weekend, and I want him there. So therefore, my manager, she comes by me. She said, your table has been set. Okay, so I hang up, right? I go look at the clock. It's 5:24. Like, I can't even clock in. I'm like, why y'all sit my table? But okay, because I'm a server, right? But when I started to talk, I started to shake. I started to cry. My manager was like, are you okay? And I told her, what was going on. They all know that I got my nephew. He comes to the restaurant all the time. And she was like, why would you want to take him? He's doing so well with you. And I'm like, exactly. And she said, do you want to take the night off? You can go home. You need to go handle that. Mind you, my sister knows where I live. So it's like, she could come here, if she's so please. Okay, part 2. This is part 2. If you did not see part 1, go ahead and check it out. So I left off at, my manager said it was okay for me to go home and be with my nephew just in case my sister tries to pop up. I come home, I rush home, and my nephew was in the room asleep, and my sister calls again. And at this point, my nephew is there. And me and him, we have had talks over time. I said, depending on how deep this gets, you're going to have to speak up. You're going to have to let them know where you want to live, why you don't want to live with your mother. Like, these are conversations that I've already had with my nephew because my sister is ignorant, right? So the second time she calls, she wants to start throwing personal jabs, right? Mind you, I am the most successful kid that my mother got. There's 12 of us, okay? And I just try to keep it strictly focused on my nephew. Like, whatever you're saying, if it ain't about helping my nephew, you not saying it. I am her little sister, yeah, but I'm not little, and I'm not a kid. And I was clowning her so bad, y'all. I'm like, you trying to take personal jabs at me because you see the focus needs to be on my nephew, and you're failing in that area. I always bring up, when I went to go get my nephew, he was 2 days away from failing. He had missed so many days at school. Her only response was, well, you act like he was failing academically. He had all A's and B's. I said, he did. But he wasn't in school to maintain those A's and B's. Like, no one was taking him there. And she was like, well, I dropped him off at his daddy's house. I don't know how he ended up with you. I said, when I went to go get him, he was with his daddy's girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend. Like, they're not even together anymore. He doesn't live in the household. So to me, I never met this girl. She's a stranger. My nephew was living with a stranger who's not, like, wasn't even a relative. And no disrespect to her because I appreciate the ex-girlfriend, but still, she's not a relative. And she was like, she starts saying that I look, I look like a man, and like saying just, she made a joke about my obesity. For those who are new here, I used to be 600 pounds, but she over exaggerated and said something about me being 1,000 pounds. I said, okay, yeah, my highest weight was 600 pounds, but I'm standing in a house that I own. Yeah, I used to be 600 pounds, and I'm sitting in one of the 2 cars that I own. Yeah, I used to be 600 pounds, and I done touched more money and had more money, and I have more money than anybody that I've ever known. So if you're gonna come for real. Yeah, I used to be 600 pounds, and I pay for my teeth in cash. Yeah, I used to be 600 pounds, and I'm paying for my nephew's teeth, which is her son, in cash. What you mean? When I tell you I threw her past in her face, and I ain't even gonna tell y'all what I said, y'all, because it was bad. You can't come at me. You can't. You ain't touching me on no level. I said, you come to my house, and I'm gonna call the police. I'm gonna get the state involved. And she already had a run-in with Child Protective Services. Why she want to play this game? Why? And as soon as my nephew opened his mouth about everything that she done took him through, you're not focused on the happiness of my nephew, because if you was, you would have never contacted me. What do you want? You want to take him out of a household that he's finally happy in? Ain't no way you care about my nephew. Ain't no way you care about your son. You're just jealous and envious that I'm giving him a life that you never could. Morning. I come to y'all confused and open-minded and searching for answers, Lord Jesus. Okay, so my nephew's daddy is still not, active in his life. And he doesn't, come see him, call to speak to him, ask, can he come get him? Nothing, right? So my nephew tells me that he gets a message via Snapchat from his father, letting him know that his job laid him off. So he told my nephew that his job laid him off. So my nephew comes to me and asks, like, what is a layoff, right? So I explained to him what it means when a job lays you off. I said, is that all your daddy said? He said, yeah. He just messaged me out of nowhere and said his job laid him off. And I said, he didn't say nothing else? My nephew says no. Okay. Now, in my mind, I was thinking this. I did not verbalize this. But in my mind, I'm thinking, you having a job never benefited your son to begin with, because you don't take care of him. You don't support him in any type of way. Right? And yet you contact your son out of nowhere telling him that your job laid you off, and that's it. In my mind, I was thinking, okay, if your job laid you off, do that mean you'll have more free time to spend with your son? Like, why are you contacting him with this information? Okay. My nephew's daddy contacted him randomly again. And this is all over the course of maybe the last week and a half, right? He messaged my nephew and said, have you heard from your mama? My nephew said, no, not at all. And my nephew's daddy began to go on a rant saying, basically that's, bull. And, there's child support coming out of my check, and you need to tell your auntie to report, his mama for taking the child support, and it's not going to him. Right? Now, this is the same rant that my nephew's daddy texted me when he was not on the birth certificate. I screenshotted this, a copy of my nephew's birth certificate. I said, you didn't sign it. You're not on it. And he said, that's bull. Then why is so much child support coming out of my check? I'm like, you're missing the point. You didn't sign your son's birth certificate. You do not support your child at all. And the only thing you're worrying about is money coming out of your paycheck, money that don't even reach your son. I'm not going to report her. You report her. Okay, part 2. All right, thank y'all so much for y'all patience. So where I left off at, I was saying, like, I'm not going to report, my sister for taking the child support and not giving it to my nephew. I was like, you can report her. Leave me out of it. Neither one of y'all are supportive parents to this child. Neither one. So it's just like, why do y'all keep contacting me? Leave me the Oh, like, I don't understand why they don't understand. I am raising their teenage child scot-free. They don't do anything for him. They don't even try to contact him. So therefore, my nephew's daddy tripping off some child support. What, $56 per paycheck? His braces was $3,000. You know what I mean? If you're gonna complain about some money, complain about some real money. And I know anything helps. So he may be agitated, like, you know, for the money coming out of his paycheck and it not going to the designated place. I can see how that could be irritating. But why are you contacting us? Why are you contacting us about money that you know we're not getting? And then hit me up one day. My nephew's daddy hit me up one day and asked me, do I got Cash App, you know, Zelle, blah, blah, blah. I say, yeah, I got Cash App. Proceeds to ask me for money. Right hand on the Bible. He asks me for money. I screenshot it and I sent it to my friend. I said, I know this. How you gonna ask me for money and I'm taking care of your child? Right? Okay. A few weeks pass. He asked me again, what's your Cash App? I sent it to him. He sent me $30. Don't know why. All I replied was, you know, thank you for the money. I'll make sure your son gets it. He never responded. Of course, I let my nephew know your daddy randomly sent $30 and, you know, you can do with it what you want. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing just confuses me. And I really don't be knowing, like, what the hell is going on. But I'm always going to do right by my nephew. And every single interaction that I have with these grown people let me know that taking my nephew under my care was the best thing for my nephew. Everybody in my nephew's life is completely inadequate. And I refuse to let him fail. I refuse. If there's something I can do about it, we're going to do it and we're going to go all the way. So that child support that he complaining, you know, coming out of his check and his son not getting it. Try again. So my nephew has been in contact with his mother, unbeknownst to me. And he originally contacted her, letting her know school starts back next month. I need to be enrolled in school. She messages back, son, I miss you and I want you to come home. Okay. Mind you, these messages are already being sent back and forth, and then my nephew shows me, you know, the screenshots and shows me what's being said. And my nephew, he was like, Auntie, I wanted to disrespect my mother so bad when she said she missed me. And I'm like, you know, there's no need for that. The only thing we need her to do is, you know, enroll you in school. You know, when she said that she wanted him to come home, my nephew said, I'm finally happy. Don't take this away from me. Don't ruin this for me. Sorry, y'all, I had got a phone call. So, as I'm reading the screenshots, my nephew clearly says to my sister, when I lived with you, I was sad, depressed, and suicidal. And like I said, I'm finally happy here. Like, don't ruin this for me. Don't take this away from me. He clearly states, I don't want to come home. I don't want to be with you. I don't. And I'm just, you know, shocked that my nephew was able to articulate his words so well. And I don't know why I'm shocked, because my nephew is an academic student and we talk all the time and he has an opinion of a grown man. But the fact that he was able to say what he wanted to say to his mother while still keeping it cute and classy, I can tell that I'm affecting him, you know, properly. Because he was talking like me in the messages. I'm gonna just, you know, keep it a buck. I was more shocked that the entire time I done had my nephew, this is the first conversation his mother and him has had. So that lets me know he didn't block her. She did not block him. The lines of communication has been open this entire time, and not once have you ever reached out to him. And then, not once have you ever reached out to your son. The only communication started when he reached out to you about going to school. If you care about your son, leave him where he at. Please.